And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Eckerd Triton Sports Network. Here covering tonight's doubleheader Sunshine State Conference action with our across-the-bay rival, the University of Tampa Spartans, visiting the MacArthur Center here in our doubleheader matchup. So it should be a great matchup between two teams here in the first game. Two well-coached teams. Tom Jesse, the head coach for the University of Tampa Spartans, facing off, of course, against the Coach Hunsinger-led Eckerd Tritons. And the Tampa Spartans has had a tough schedule to start off the season, dropping the last two in a row, playing in the Bellarmine Indiana Classic. That was in the Louisville Classic up in Louisville, Kentucky, where they dropped two out-of-conference games, a 10-point loss to Southern Indiana on Friday night and a 13-point loss to Bellarmine on Saturday. On the Tritons side, the Tritons are coming off visiting an out-of-conference opponent playing in the Valdosta State Thanksgiving Tournament, where they lost a tough one against Columbus State University on Friday night by 3, 60-57, and then a 15-point win bouncing back in the win column, 81-66 against Georgia Southwestern State on Saturday. Of course, with the expansion several years ago of the Sunshine State Conference, you're seeing early conference games, and this is going to be a tough week for the Tritons as they play two home games, but two home games against two of the predicted top teams in the Sunshine State Conference. University of Tampa predicted to be in the top two by the preseason, and then a visit by the Berry Buccaneers on Saturday, and they were picked to be in the top five. So a little bit of different personnel. Coach Hunsinger has really plugged in some holes that he lost with some senior leaders, and those players have done a pretty good job in filling in and learning the system early. Maya Price averaging 20 minutes a game, but also leading the scoring at 13 and a half coming off the bench. Of course, Zoe Richards, who has been a thorn in the side of the Tampa Spartans, a thriller last year at home when she hit some clutch shots down the stretch, forcing into overtime where the Tritons finally prevailed. And she is second on the team with 13.3 points per game, also averaging 4.5 rebounds. Of course, Abby White-Eye, the do-it-all Abby White-Eye, also playing high minutes, about 31, leading the team, and then also averaging just under 12 points at 11.8 points per game with 5 rebounds to go with that. And she is just a little bit of everything, does a great job on the offensive glass, defensive glass, and talking to Coach Hunsinger at the beginning of the year, he thought that the start of the season was going to depend on how well they could play defense. And but the offense has gone really well for the Tritons here early on. As a team, they are shooting over 50%. They are 55% so far early on in the season, and they're shooting a blitzing 44% from three-point range. So this is a high-scoring offense, and that's going to be an interesting matchup because Tampa always plays very good defense. That is one of the best qualities of a Tom Jesse-led team. They love to get into the passing lanes. They love to have pressure defense. They will play some zone, and they've done a good job, but they've also dominated the glass as well. And, this should be a good matchup between the high-scoring Tritons so far early in the season and a good defensive team by the Spartans. We will be joined by the voice of the Tritons, Nate March, here momentarily. About 2.5 minutes. My name is Ryan Halstead, and we appreciate you joining us here on the Sunshine State Conference doubleheader in the Eckerd Triton Sports Network. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back to give you the starters and the national anthem, and we're glad you're going to be here with us the entire night. So sit back, relax. We've got just a couple minutes before we get this party started. as the teams get off the bench for the last minute, let's tell you a little bit about the visiting Spartans. They are led by leading scorer LaShayla Wright Ponders, averaging 16.8 points per game. She is a junior forward who started all games averaging about 28 minutes per game. Dory Naj is the other junior forward averaging 16.6, so that twin tower presence in the middle has been something that Tom Jesse has been able to recruit well over the years and has been really a factor in playing against the Tritons over previous seasons. Malijah Sullivan is a sophomore guard who's averaging 10 points per game. Chris Nelson off the bench, she has started only and played only 2 games, but she has 12 points per season going into it. And then, of course, Julia Ingram, local product. She is averaging 8.4 points per game. She's out of Palm Harbor University High School. And the Tritons are going to face a tough defense. They rebound the ball pretty well. They're averaging just under, looking it up right here, just over 33 rebounds per game and only giving up 29 rebounds. So watch for that matchup today. Additionally, we see that the Spartans are averaging 65 points on the season. Their opponents are 63 points. So we're going to go ahead and break for the national anthem. My partner Nate March will be joining us in just a minute, and we're glad you're here with us on the Triton Sports Network here on EckerdTritons.com. And we're back here on the Eckerd Triton Sports Network, and my partner, the voice of the Tritons, Nate March, joins me. And Nate, how was your Thanksgiving?
Ryan, a fantastic Thanksgiving, a lot of fun basketball here inside the MacArthur Center on Black Friday and Small Business Saturday. Instead of shopping, we were here enjoying some hoops. I know you were up in Gainesville enjoying a Gators beatdown on the Seminoles. And now we're back for a fun Battle of the Bay tonight. Two of the teams that come in with higher expectations on the women's side, Eckerd and Tampa, getting ready to square off. The Tritons 3-1 on the season, a 1-1 trip up to Georgia at Valdosta State's tournament, and now returning home and facing Tampa, who really is expected to be among the top teams, but they're off to a 2-3 start. Tough opening slate in November for the Spartans. And it's time that we meet the starting lineups for the two teams, and I will start with the visiting Tampa Spartans. In the backcourt, Julia Ingram, Chris Nelson, Malijah Sullivan, Dory Nagy is in the front court, and LaShayla Wright Ponder is up front. That is a senior, a sophomore, and 3 juniors in the starting lineup. Chris Nelson being the lone senior. Tom Jesse is the head coach for the Tampa Spartans. He is assisted by Caitlin Mitrick and Belly Bistro. And Ryan, why don't you give us a starting 5 for the Eckerd College Tritons?
So the starting lineup, same as Coach Hunsinger has used all season. At the guard position, a 5'6" senior from Azpeitia, Spain, Enrique Laraniga. At the guard forward position, a 5'11" junior from McKinney, Texas, out of South Plains College, Michaela Keeney. At the guard position, point guard, number 11, 5'3" senior from Akron, Ohio, Octavia Lowell. At the other guard forward position, number 20, a 5'9" junior from Petrolina, Ontario, Abby Whiteye. And in the post, number 22, a 6'2" senior from Dunedin, New Zealand, Zoe Richards. And, you know, Nate, you brought it up. These are 2 teams that are predicted to be among the top 3 or 4 teams in the conference by the coaches and preseason poll, and they always give us a great showing. Especially last year, I was talking earlier, Zoe Richards came on strong in the 4th quarter, hit a buzzer beater to send into overtime where the Tritons finally prevailed. These are 2 teams that are scouted well. The coaches know each other's tendencies. We should have a good dogfight here tonight.
Both teams play really stout defense. LaShayla Wright-Ponder is averaging nearly 17 per game, and Dory Najee is right behind her. Abby Whiteye controls the tip, and the Tritons in their home whites attack from right to left here inside the MacArthur Center. Tampa in their visiting blacks, inside, too strong on the shot attempt by Whiteye, and Tampa controls.
And a good set right there on the chin, a high post cut, and Abby Whiteye just couldn't get the layup to go. And you know, the Tritons haven't changed a whole lot of their offensive sets. They still run a lot of Princeton, but they are shooting at a very high clip this year, over 55% on the season. Additionally, they are also, you know, shooting 44% from three-point range. So getting that opportunity early, big opportunity for the Tritons to see if they can match up against a very good defense.
Wright-Ponder has played at a couple different stops, goes 1 of 2 at the line, including University of South Dakota, which is a big powerhouse in Division I women's basketball. Opening 30 seconds of the game, straight on look for Zoe Richards. Her 3 comes off the bucket and is rebounded by Chris Nelson.
And 2 wide open looks with the Tritons running their sets. We'll see what type of adjustments Coach Jesse has, but those are 2 really good looks that Coach Hunsinger's got to like early on.
Sullivan shot off the back iron. Offensive rebound, though, for Tampa, secured by Najee.
And that's a good sign for the Spartans early on. They are a good rebounding team. And they're going to turn the ball over, but hitting that glass early, the Tritons are going to have to do a good job in trying to stay even in the rebounding battle to give them chance, their offense, to get a chance to get on the offense quicker.
1-0 lead for Tampa on the free throw by Wright-Ponder. Richards faces up against the opposing center, gives it up, Lall around the screen, comes back to the right, tries to float it inside, it's off Zoe's fingertips, stolen away, back down the floor comes Sullivan.
Octavia try to look off the defense and get it over the top, but good help side was able to poke that away.
Laranaga with the help defense, able to get the steal. Keeney thought about pulling up with it. Instead, around the arc, Lall goes inside to Zoe Richards. This is the primetime matchup, Wright-Ponder against Richards. This time, Richards wins the battle, gets the roll on the hook for a 2-1 lead.
Zoe's ability to use both hands make her such a tough guard. In addition, she can stretch the defense by coming out hitting outside shots. So she really is a premier offensive player that this conference sees, and you saw that. It's going to be a great matchup tonight between these 2 players inside.
Wright-Ponder misses the short shot. Team effort on the boards. Whiteye comes away. Wright-Ponder fell down. It's 5-on-4 for the Tritons, and Lall goes all the way to the bucket, but her scoop doesn't get to the glass and comes off the rim.
Wright-Ponder also another post presence. She shoots at a very high clip. You know, so if they can go at each other, see if one of them can get into foul trouble, that could put some pressure on both teams here early on.
Around the arc to the right side. Toss in for Najee. Najee and Whiteye able to bother her on the flyby. And as we kind of expected, defense is having its way thus far, although the Tritons have gotten a couple really good looks. They've missed a pair of bunnies right around the rim. Inside this time, Laranaga posting up from her guard spot and is unable to get the shot in. And just a few sort of hesitant attempts putting the ball up on the rim by Lowell and by Laranaga, as they're very conscious of this big front line of Tampa. But you still got to get the ball up there with some authority to get it to the glass. And
I think you nailed it. There is a lot of hesitation when you're playing against a very large presence in the post. There's sometimes you get hesitant because your shot might get blocked. You got to use head fakes, but if you get your shot blocked, that's okay. Go strong. You might get a foul call, but you can see some of that hesitation early on.
Wright Ponder from about 8 feet pushes it up on the rim and gets the roll.
And you can see that skill that she has. Two similar shots between Zoe and Wright Ponder, but both going at each other early. And I think you got to like that from both coaches, that both players who can score playing pretty aggressive and trying to attack the basket.
Richards off the dribble and is able to draw a checking foul there against Wright Ponder. So fouls one apiece for the two big post scorers.
Both teams feeling each other out, but so much size. Coach Essie does a good job in recruiting size and really does a good job protecting the basket. So what that sets up with, it eliminates some of the backdoor cuts and some of the opportunities that the Tritons get going towards the basket. But you still got to run that and try to make the defense sag and maybe hit some inside-out opportunities and get some three-point shots, which the Tritons clearly have done very well so far early on this season.
Lowell nearly has it stripped up top by Nelson. Gets by her, hangs off to Keeney. Keeney couldn't get the shot up over the rim. And the size of Tampa is really bothering the Tritons around the rim right now.
And a great job by Najee there just to basically be a presence again. Very disciplined, elbows to ear, kind of pitching a tent and forcing another missed shot.
Under 6 to go in the first quarter. 3 in the air, comes off the left side of the rim. That was Julia Ingram on the attempt from the left wing. Her first shot. Tampa has gotten everyone pretty much a touch so far. Octavia Lowell, count the bucket and the foul, as she was able to get a step on Nelson and soar to the rim.
And a good job by Octavia Lowell, change of speed. Such a crucial skill for an offensive player, especially to be able to get the defense to kind of just stop for a minute and then explode right by. Octavia Lowell did a great job there just changing that direction, changing that speed.
Free throw off the mark, but the Tritons lead 4-3 over the University of Tampa.
You see great communication by both teams. Tampa trying to run their offense, but you also have the Tritons doing a good job communicating, calling out screens and rotating, something that we're seeing an improvement from the early on in the season.
Wright Ponder double teamed, her shot too strong. White-Eye able to grab the rebound. And Keeney's strength in the upper body is going to be key when she switches on to Wright Ponder there, not to let her back her down. And that time she was able to force her to spin into the help defense. Zoe Richards with a soft touch.
Nice another jump hook going to the left hand. And she's done such a good job, Coach Jesse calling for a travel. And she does just that footwork, though, is just something Zoe, just another aspect of her game. Besides being ambidextrous and going on both sides, she has tremendous footwork in the post.
Here's a sequence of dribble handoffs. Tampa's known for those in their offense up top. Najee on the drive, out to Ingram, tries the three. Too strong, Keeney the rebound. Tritons back on the offensive attack. The next dead ball will bring us to a media timeout. No one stops ball, and Lowell will force Tampa to call for the timeout. Octavia Lowell, her second lay-in, and it's 8-3 Tritons. We will step aside here on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
Tritons come out in a press. Let's see if they, with a little bit of a run, can cause some problems. And right there, they deflected out of bounds. And a nice little look, especially out of a timeout. That's such a great coaching opportunity to kind of change something and kind of lull the other team to sleep, not expecting, and then a quick change. I don't know if this will be something Coach Hunsinger keeps, but I still a nice little change of pace there to try to force some problems for the Spartans.
Well, and the Tritons on a 6-0 run, they've created some really good looks, so interesting to see them make the change here. Offensive glass going to be big for Tampa. Najee with an offensive rebound right there.
And the Tritons fall back in the zone, so see Abby wide-eye drops. We'll see how they adjust, how the Spartans try to attack this, especially with some subs in the game too after Coach Essie upset with the lack of transition defense there.
Iburn and Price checked in for the Tritons. Shot clock violation by Tampa, who made changes to bring in Maya Justo and Anna Popovich.
And so you see, with a little bit of a change, Wright Ponder not getting, kind of getting a quick hook here. How does the Spartans handle it with one of their leading scorers on the bench early on? Ball gets inside to Price. Missed shot, and here come the Spartans trying to get something going offensively. They've been held scoreless for over 3 minutes.
Sorry about that, Ryan. Experiencing a little bit of equipment wardrobe malfunction here. Down into the post against the zone. Najee pass stolen away by Iburn, and the Tritons look to get out on the break. Law, 1-on-3, then accelerates, gets to the rim, can't quite finish though.
Good job, another elbow to ear, forcing a missed shot, but you mentioned Iburn. Iburn's another one of those players that have just newcomers that have just adjusted nicely to this style of basketball, Coach Hunsinger style. Presence inside the post, she can put the ball on the floor a little bit. Just one of those players that can do a little bit of everything that Coach Hunsinger likes to recruit.
Abby White-Eye with those quick hands and long arms. The steal and draws a foul. And if that is on, well, no, that one's going to go on Sullivan. Malia Sullivan's going to pick up her first. No, it is her second. I was right. Shouldn't have second-guessed myself. And Tampa has now been called for 4 fouls, so could be some free throws coming if the Tritons can draw one more.
So some turnovers here early on, 5 turnovers so far. And an over 4-minute scoring drought for the Spartans. Kind of putting them on their heels early on here.
Granlund to White-Eye, and entry pass too low to be handled by Price.
Abby did a good job moving, but that ball just kind of skipped on her and just a little bit too low for Price to be able to handle it.
Still an 8-3 lead for the Tritons, 2:22 to go in the quarter. Najee, and blocking foul called against Mar Iburn.
And see again, Coach Hunsinger playing a little bit of zone and looking at it saying, let's see how the Spartans can handle kind of this shift of defense. They have not shown they shoot a lot of three-pointers, only averaging just over 5 makes per game and only shooting 14. So if they're going to play zone, though, they got to attack the glass. They got to be able to rebound.
Pull-up jumper pure on the baseline for Maya Gusto. Naples, Florida product. 8-5, 3-point lead for the Tritons. Law down the right side, off to Granlund. Iburn up above the arc.
You can't get beat on the zone on the bottom like that. Put so much pressure, and usually they got a seal, which is what happened there, which created that open 8-foot shot.
Abby White-Eye using her length once again there, getting that long stride to put the back line in an uncomfortable position. Foul goes against Najee. And free throws here, 2 of them for Abby White-Eye. First one rims out.
A little bit of a missed opportunity. The Tritons had them on the heels, and I tell you, the Spartans can keep this to a 1-possession game after the first quarter. They would have handled an early haymaker out of the gate for the Tritons.
Tritons pick up full court again off the made free throw, 9-5 lead. Brought over the timeline by Popovich.
And sometimes you see, Nate, how presses aren't necessarily going to try to get a steal, but also just kind of slow the game down, force the defense to have to set up. So you see they're operating with less than 15 in the shot clock.
And Najee got fouled on the arm there as Iburn actually winds up taking the worst of it. She sort of wound up with her upper body leaning into the shooting space. And so Najee will shoot a pair.
And you're seeing a little bit of that just kind of fundamental defense that the Tritons have got to do a better job on. You got to stay in your stance, don't foul jump shooters, stay low. That allows you to get in position to rebound. When you start raising up in your stance, trying to block shots, especially in a zone, that allows players to get around you, harder box out assignments.
And they are going to send Iburn to the training staff to get some attention. A minute 25 to go in the quarter. Keeney checks back in. The Tritons have gone more than 3 minutes since their last field goal. We've seen both teams go on some lengthy droughts. First free throw good for Najee.
You see the fans starting to fill in here on this midweek doubleheader. I always say, Nate, it's really interesting now after 3 years of an expanded conference how crucial these December games get when in the past you were just trying to feel each other out.
Price spins through the lane and scores with the left hand. And then a foul as Law steals the inbounds. Someone for Tampa turned their back on the would-be inbounds pass, so the inbounder just had to drop it inbounds, and Law scooped it up, got fouled by the inbounder. It was Gusto inbounding, so Law draws her second opportunity for a three-point play in this first quarter.
Just a sloppy, unforced error there, and the Tritons capitalize. And just when we said that the Spartans handled kind of that haymaker, right now all of a sudden stretched back up to 8 points. And this press has caused some issues for the Spartans. They have not done a good job handling the pressure. Even when they break it, they're kind of running low and not getting the shots that they want to get in their offensive set.
14-6 lead for the Tritons. Granlund out defensively. Leaves the corner open, though. Najee does not get the roll. That was a missed assignment there. Granlund needs to sink down into the corner on that play to guard the shooter. White-Eye using the left hand, gets her own rebound, but then throws it into the backcourt.
So, Spartans, see how they handle this. They kind of, miss a good opportunity there with a missed assignment on the zone. And right now they've had to work very hard on the offense. They just not getting the shots they want. Only really a couple shots, right ponder inside with a bunny jump hook, and then, of course, the pull-up jumper by Gusto. Other than that, they've struggled.
This is a 1-3-1 look from the Tritons. So they've come out of the 2-3, go into a 1-3-1 with Price manning the middle of it, and Najee completely thrown off by that. She travels, and now the Tritons can take the last shot of the half, looking for a double-digit lead.
A little bit of
last shot of the quarter, rather.
A little bit of a chess match there by Coach Hunsinger, switching his defense. You haven't seen a lot of that in previous years. I mean, it's usually a straight man-to-man team, and here he's played 3 different defenses plus a press. So a little bit of a chess match right now going on between these two coaches.
Law off a Price screen, zipped inside. White-Eye gets the shot off, left it short, though. But an 8-point lead for the Tritons at the end of one. 14-6, Eckerd leads at home on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Women's Basketball Showdown, the Sunshine State Conference. Ryan Halstead, Nate March here with you. Producer Maddie pushing the buttons to keep us running smoothly. And Tampa's offense was running anything but smoothly. And the Tritons continue to switch defenses. Wright Ponder has the ball stripped away. Abby White-Eye down on the floor. And the Tritons have really flummoxed the Spartans thus far. An 8-point lead. And Octavia Lowell is going to back the ball out and set up a play.
And Abby White-Eye just, once again, just does a lot of little things. It just builds up over the course of a game where you realize what a great job she does. And just so many. She can score, she rebounds, she getting on the floor. That's the second or third time she's been on the floor today trying to save a possession or get a ball. And, you know, it just plays with so much energy, so much heart. You just really just a talented player.
The Tritons forced 7 turnovers in the first quarter, and they turned Tampa over on the very first play of the second quarter. Keeney thinks about it. Doesn't want to shoot it up over Najee, though. Granlund looks inside. An errant pass. Keeney tracks it down with 5 to shoot. She's just going to have to step into the shot. Nope, gets it off to Lull. And that laser gets tapped around and winds up in Gusto's hands.
That's just a tough shot, a little bit more awareness, but good job by the Spartans on that possession, forcing a deep shot. And Tritons have some subs in here, but they're still in that 1-3-1, and their defense is keeping them, you know, able to make some mistakes on offense because they've been playing so well.
In the corner, Gusto, 3 is pure from the right corner, and once again, Granlund needs to slide down a little quicker there on those corner threes.
That does, create a little bit of an issue, on that zone. That's where when 1-3-1, you've got to talk, you've got to communicate, make sure you know your assignments.
14-9, Tritons leading. Zoe Richards is at the scorer's table, waiting to check back in. Keeney, moving screen called against Price.
And just again, you can't move, you can't roll when the defender's on your hip. And you saw that there by Price. As the ball handler went past her, she starts rolling. Got to give the defense a chance to clear you, but also by allowing them to clear you, you're going to open up some passing lanes as well.
Chris Nelson, the senior point guard, handles out top. Tritons set up in man. With Zoe Richards back in, they'll let her try to hold her own against Wright Ponder. Keeney out top against Najee. Here's Nelson attacking Lowell off the dribble, and a late whistle and a foul.
Just getting beat off the dribble there. You got to stay low. You got to cut off the dribble lane. And if you're playing against a faster opponent, sometimes the notion is maybe give yourself some ground, but that can give them a full head of steam. You got to kind of shift it up. You got to kind of go what we call one-step defense or two-step, and then keep moving your feet to make you a little bit quicker.
Inside, Wright Ponder. And this time with the left hand, got that deep position on Richards.
Absolutely.
Was able to score.
Just too deep there, be able to use the body and then use the basket as kind of a shield. And a good finish there. Wright Ponder showing some of her ability to score.
Keeney wide open on the left wing. Answers with a 3. It's 17-11.
And it all starts with getting, the penetration by Lowell and the extra pass. A good offensive series there, inside out, is how we're seeing it.
6-point lead for the Tritons. That was their first bucket of the second quarter. Wright Ponder out on the perimeter. Zoe Richards gives her a runway. Najee shows the ball to Keeney. 8 to shoot. Najee crossing over. Wright Ponder flashed high to screen. In the corner, doesn't matter. Offensive foul on Najee.
A nice job rotating. Nice job sliding your feet. That stunt and recover. If you see dribble penetration or one pass away, you got to get into the dribbling lane and either force that pass or at least force a contact, and good job there on the defensive end.
Lowell, Keeney, Larinaga, White-Eye, and Richards, the 5 on the floor. So it's the starters out there for the Tritons.
Coach Hunsinger going to be upset that Zoe didn't take that shot.
Octavia Lowell across the lane with the runner. Timeout, Tampa.
And Coach Jesse not happy at all. Quickly off the bench into Gusto, saying you can't get beat off the dribble like that. And once again, kind of having a tough matchup right now. Octavia Lowell doing what she wants and leading this team with 9 points.
That is 2 fouls on Najee with that offensive foul she had at the other end. So several Tampa players with 2 personals now. 6:41 to go. This is only a 30-second timeout. And there's been a few times now where it looks like Tampa has done things to stagnate the Tritons' offense, but just that one-on-one matchup of Lull being able to break her defender down off the dribble and either score herself or draw the defense in to create an opening. I mean, she is playing as an elite shot creator right now for the Tritons.
And she is, and she's finding when she hasn't scored, she's been able to find and still get some good shots for her teammates by her presence. And just a hustle right now. The 50-50 balls are also being won by the Tritons. And when you look at it, it's an 8-point lead. But this could easily be up to over 15 with some easy bunnies that the Tritons missed in the first 4 minutes of the game. Some great looks. And, a team that's usually very stout defensively is having their hands full right now in the first few minutes. So we'll see what kind of adjustments Coach Jesse, who is just really one of the top coaches in the conference, does and tries to give his team a little bit better opportunity defensively.
Tritons out of the timeout, pick up full court. This looks like it'll be full court man. And Nelson just barely able to step through, make the catch. Tritons need to hurry back and attempt to take it all the way in by Abney. Unsuccessful. The press works in speeding the Spartans up rather. Lull shows the basketball to Nelson. Over to White-Eye. White-Eye looks in the corner for Larinaga. Entry to Richards. Richards faces up, puts it on the floor. Dangerous pass to White-Eye, even more dangerous pass. And Abby's lucky to get the kick there. That was an ill-advised attempt to bounce pass between 2 defenders.
One more dribble, and I think she would have had that bounce pass. But you can see the unselfishness. This is a team that, broke a record for assists. Or excuse me, almost broke a record of assists couple weeks ago, and good inbounds play there to get the foul.
Popovich called for her first personal. The Spartans been called for 9 personal fouls thus far.
And you can see how well and how aggressive they're being. The Tritons are getting the shots, getting good shots that they want.
First free throw good for Keeney. Second is off the mark, and the rebound is loose on the floor, and the arrow favors the Tritons. Just incredible hustle. The Tritons are on the floor for everything right now.
And that's a stat that most teams chart, 50-50 balls. If you win that advantage, you're giving yourself more opportunities, more possessions, and right now the Tritons are winning that battle.
Pass low to Richards on the perimeter. She scoops it up. Don't put it past Zoe to try to take Wright Ponder off the dribble one of these times. Instead, she's open for the 3 and knocks it down. You can see how uncomfortable Wright Ponder was trying to guard out there on the perimeter.
And 2-man game right there. Nice pick and roll. That's just a nice, and then, Spartans did a good job kind of forcing them off their spots, and then they were able to just, run their offense and get a good shot.
23-11, Tritons leading, and Tampa forced to use a timeout. The Spartans are down to 1 timeout remaining for the rest of the game after Nelson forced to call timeout to get out of that double team.
And Coach Jesse yelling a little bit about contact, and Coach Jesse, he's trying to motivate his team, and he will get on the refs. And I think you got to be careful at this situation, especially when it's this type of dead ball and the refs have they have the refs' entire attention. It's not wise to get a technical when your team's already on the ropes a little bit.
Yeah, down by 12, and that's one of those spots where, maybe you're hoping if you're Coach Jesse, your senior point guard can, find an outlet to get out of trouble there without burning the timeout. As Tritons, you think they've been aggressive with the press already. With Tampa down to just 1 timeout, the Tritons are going to be able to shift defenses at will and leave the Spartans with, very, very little opportunity to make those adjustments.
And you wonder if, a little bit unprepared, this is not a style that we've seen Coach Hunsinger do, where, we've seen him press maybe a possession or 2, but to change the defense as frequently as he's done tonight, especially against 2 teams that have matched up very well, very tight. These games are usually in the 50s. It almost looks like the Spartans are kind of stunned. They just look like this is not what we were expecting. coming in with this full court pressure, and the Tritons give them credit. They've come in ready to go, and they're doing it by moving their feet. They have not given up a lot of easy baskets, which is what you can do in a pressing situation.
Here's that 1-3-1 again. Abney out of the pressure, up to Ingram, 2 to shoot. Ingram just has to gun it up and does make the late shot clock 3. Julia Ingram from Clearwater buries a much-needed triple for the Spartans to cut the lead to 9.
That's a big shot. I mean, the Tritons did everything they needed and just better offense there. So Julia Ingram with a huge shot.
White eye trapped under the basket, gets it off to Zoe Richards, her runner off the mark, and that's a tough foul to go against Zoe Richards right there. That's going to be her second.
And that's tough. I mean, another bunny around the basket. You know, you almost want to see her go off the glass there. So she's so good finishing around the basket, and a rare miss there. So now we see how Price can come in, and Price can give a presence.
And a turnover stepping over the baseline on the inbounds. This press is up in Tampa's head right now. That's the second time that we've seen one of Tampa's inbounders just have a complete miscue throwing the ball in.
It is, and such a rare call that you see. You almost like want to say, there's no way you have that, but at the same time, there's so obvious. It's like it's such an easy thing, and you're right. That just the press continues to cause issues.
Price against Wright Ponder, throws it out to Law midway through the clock. Calling for the screen and gives it up to Price. Price also has some face-up game. Kick to the corner, dangerous. Law gets her feet set and nails the corner triple.
And, you know, when you're feeling it and things are going your way, and right now Octavia Lowe's really dominating. She's showing that she is the best ball handler on the court tonight. And it's such a shot, and she was in rhythm when she caught it.
She has a dozen, and the Tritons lead by a dozen, and a traveling call against Tampa on the double team. The Spartans are completely lost right now.
It's another turnover. I mean, that's quite, you know, just such a deflate when you're down. I mean, that's 11 turnovers in the first half. And you're already struggling. It's hard to get your momentum going when you're struggling against this pressure defense, and then you're turning the ball over, and it's really hard to get into a rhythm to, you know, get your offensive set.
Both of these teams 1-0 in conference play thus far, so this is a pivotal matchup, and that's a turnover by the Tritons as the inbounds pass was tipped.
The Spartans going to try to get something going here, and the Tritons go back to a 2-3 off the miss and steal. And good job by the Spartans on that out of bounds underneath. They got to get something going here and got to try to go inside out here against the zone. Make the zone move, skip passes, see if you can get a little bit inside on an X cut.
High arcing 3, Nelson buries it.
And I think Coach Hunsinger would give up. You'd be happy with that shot, but a good shot by Nelson nonetheless. And, you know, Spartans going to need to try to put together a couple possessions like that to try to get back in this game and really get the momentum towards their side.
Both teams have hit 3 3-pointers, 26-17, Eckerd leading. Once again, Wright Ponder gets dragged out to the perimeter defensively, and an attempt to post up by Larinaga, and Ingram stood her ground, and the pass was too wide. And Coach Hunsinger is going to use a timeout as his offense, despite scoring on 4 of their last 5 shots, a couple of turnovers have slowed down the offensive attack.
When you see that, you know, Abby catches it a little bit off the perimeter, and she looked past the whole way. And I like to see her there get down into a triple threat position, just basic basketball fundamentals. You know, then you might open up a passing lane, but she looked past the whole way, a little too strong, and you know, a tough turnover. And this is now a big possession. Out of the timeout, what does Coach Jesse draw up, especially if Coach Hunsinger is going to continue with this press? And I don't see why he would pull it off, considering how much success he's had with it.
I mean, the only argument for that is just, you know, as we've talked about, Triton's very small roster. So, you know, if you are going to press extensively, you know, you have to leverage all of your assets to get that done. So, you know, that probably means some minutes for Brooke Jude at some point. You know, it means more minutes for Granlund. You know, the Tritons running with that 9-player roster, you know, foul troubles and, you know, just energy conservation, something to keep in mind.
Good job by Price. She almost got up in her stance, but she did a good job keeping her feet moving, and now we're able to set up their defense. So once again, Spartans were operating with only 9 seconds left on the shot clock.
6 to shoot. Nelson tries from straight on, this time off the mark, and an over-the-back foul on Wright Ponder. That should be her second.
Good box out underneath, and that's the one thing that I've been impressed. Not only are they doing a good job, but they're rebounding fairly well out of this zone defense, and I think that that's a tougher defense to rebound out of because you don't have your natural assignments.
Law under the basket, whips the pass back out. White-Eye, Price is open, in rhythm, off the front rim. Law, the rebound under the basket, turns around, cannot finish though. And Octavia Law wins it back. Larinaga with the hustle to deflect it. And now we're going to have some conversation about where the shot clock should be.
Coach Jesse quickly off this ground, especially with Wright Ponder picking up her second. But, I think that was just another 50-50 ball. Like in this possession down here, there was solid good box out. Wright Ponder had the contact there, and she went over the back. Here, there was no box out. So it looked like just Octavia Lowell just out-jumped her. And then that's a tough situation, especially when you're down. You're trying to get anything you can to get the momentum back on your side. But I think it's just an extra hustle there by the Tritons.
Third opportunity on this trip for Eckerd. Behind the screen, Keeney too strong on the three.
And a nice box out there. And Wright Ponder still playing with 2 fouls.
No, Battle just replaced her.
Oh, excuse me, Battle. You're right. So Battle with a good rebound there, and she's going to try to see if she can get some minutes. And try to, but you can see just slow down defense here. I mean, the zone really taking time off the clock and the shot clock for the Spartans, and they just have no answer getting anything going.
And Price fronting, able to deflect the pass to Battle. 3-on-3, Law in rhythm, but short on the three-pointer.
Fade into her left there, and I like the aggressiveness, but just not set. You start drifting a little bit.
Now the 2-3 look again for the Tritons. Battle gets the entry cleanly this time, but throws it back out into the backcourt. Law sprinting ahead and scores with the left hand. She has 14.
And that's just out hustling. That is just out hustling. I don't think Nelson really ever felt Lowell near her, and just an excellent job by Lowell wanting it more. And she's lucky she didn't get the three-point, an opportunity for a three-point play there, but just great hustle by Octavia Lowell.
Nelson, I think, was just resigned to taking the backcourt violation. Didn't realize that Lowell was sprinting downhill at her. Under the basket, Battle, and she leaves the shot short. The Tritons lead by 11, 38 seconds remaining. So the Tritons, taking too long now to go 2 for 1, but the opportunity was there.
And I would say you look at it, and your defense is so good that, that 2 for 1, or 1 for 1 is almost kind of like a 2 for 1 with how many turnovers you force. I mean, that's another 4 turnovers in the last 4 minutes for the Spartans.
8 to shoot, a lob inside, White-Eye, tremendous catch, up and under for the basket.
And that's a great adjustment by her. How many times do we see someone try to just jump backwards and get their shot blocked or just miss, and she just did a good job using her body to shield. That's the old-fashioned reverse Mikan drill, Nate.
And the Spartans don't even get it up the floor to take a last shot. The Spartans were completely caught off guard by how much little time they had left and just never even advanced it into the forecourt.
Well, you say 2 for 1, and they ended up getting 1 for nothing.
Up getting the last shot.
Right, and that's, once again, just a team that looked baffled and confused and just really didn't have an answer. And honestly, I'm a little shocked. I mean, I was not expecting, them to struggle this much, but also just with a new style that Coach Hunsinger kind of threw at them. And, you look at it and you wonder if that's the same, reaction that Coach Jesse had. Like, this is not the Triton team we were expecting, because they just have really struggled with it with so many turnovers, 13 in the first half. And that's just that's tough to give your offense a chance to get rhythm when you give up that many possessions.
Octavia Lowell, 14 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 steals in the first half. She has been a primetime player for the Tritons. We'll step aside with Eckerd up by 13 at the intermission on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
This is the University of Tampa. Explore your dreams. Discover your talents. Get ready to invent, innovate, and be a leader. This is the University of Tampa.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division 2, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the question isn't, can you do it? It's, will you?
I'm Jimmy. This is my definition of fresh since 1983.
So, Audrey, such a nice day. So warm today.
It's so beautiful.
So, how are your classes going?
Good. Are you ready for the test?
Aiming for C++, but I think I'll go in there.
I keep pretty close to that.
Yeah.
I'm picking 7.
7? Wow.
This is the University of Tampa. Explore your dreams. Discover your talents. Get ready to invent, innovate, and be a leader. This is the University of Tampa.
Being a champion takes more than skill, more than endless drills, more than using your head. Being a champion takes the heart to give it your all, the agility to thrive from any angle, and the relentless drive to be the best. Welcome to Division 2, where the pursuit is yours to create, and the question isn't, can you do it? It's will you?
I'm Jimmy. This is my definition of fresh since 1983.
So, Audrey,
Thank you, love.
such a nice day, huh? So warm today.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
So how are your classes going?
Good. Are you ready for the test?
Aiming for C++, but I think I got it.
I can't wait for
Yeah.
I'm picking 7.
7. Wow.
Welcome back to Eckerd College basketball. The Tritons at the half with a 13-point lead over the University of Tampa Spartans. And Eckerd threw the kitchen sink at the Spartans and, frankly, flooded Tampa's kitchen with the kitchen sink. Tampa was flustered offensively for large portions of that first half. And, Ryan, I have to think that that was a very busy locker room conversation for Coach Jesse just now, trying to sort his offense out of how they're going to handle all the different tricks that the Tritons have treated them to.
And I think that that's one of the things that the halftime does help, is that you can get on the whiteboard, you can really, really emphasize where does the ball need to get inbounded, where does the ball need to go, where are you looking for where those traps, right now they're getting killed on the corners. That midline is being used as an extra defender, so they've got to attack the middle of that press. And so being able to be in the halftime to draw that up and really emphasize to your guards. But the other thing we said is that there's no doubt that they have talent with Najee and Wright Ponder, but they just haven't been able to get the guards to get them the ball inside enough, and they're just getting outplayed completely by the Tritons, and especially Octavia Lowell.
Octavia Lowell, a sensational first half, scoring 14 points on 6 of 11 shooting. She played the full 20 minutes. Abby White-Eye did as well. White-Eye, not as much of an offensive presence, but has grabbed 5 rebounds. She's only been credited with 1 steal, but she has directly led to a number of those turnovers by Tampa.
And that's where stats can be so frustrating, because sometimes if you're just staring at the box score, you're like, oh, she's rebounding okay. But the reality is that she's been everywhere. I mean, and she's been on the floor over 5 times this game, just trying to keep balls alive, keeping possessions alive. And that energy, especially when you're playing up tempo in a press, really feeds and spreads. And so, that stat line, you're right. I mean, it's just so much more than what it's really showing.
Spartans, particularly that full court press, really became a struggle for them, because it took them longer to advance, and with the shot clock being almost midway down sometimes before they ever even started their offense, makes it that much harder to get those quality post touches you were just talking about.
Well, and I think that that's the problem right there, is that there was no flow in their offense, because they could just either turn the ball over or they were just getting so late in the shot clock. So it'll be interesting to see how what they draw up, where they try to attack. They got to get some flows. And, one of the stats that teams keep are kill stats, and that's when you take a team 3 straight possessions without scoring. And, Tritons dominated the last half like that. So to see how Coach Jesse tries to attack, they're going to need to get out on a run and hope that the Tritons struggle offensively to get back in. And I'd say they need to get this to under 10 going into the 4th if they're going to give them a chance to get a win tonight.
Tritons come out in an active 2-3, hands up everywhere. Senior Nelson with an early 3-point connection. That'll help.
And I think that's a great way to attack the zone. You go inside out. They went in. The defense collapsed, so they couldn't get into Ponder, and Nelson's hit a couple 3-point shots. So that's a great start for the Spartans out of the half.
Keeney out to Lowell. Midway through the shot clock, 30-10, and Nelson just slipped, went down. Lowell missed the bunny. Nelson back to her feet. Looks like she's okay. And then an errant pass. It was tipped by Laren, or was it? The official on the sideline indicated Tampa ball. Tampa just concedes it.
And that's a funny thing, because she was convinced that it was deflected, but Tampa knew it wasn't. it's one of those things where honesty is the best policy, I guess, and the Tritons kind of get lucky there.
Yeah, that pass wasn't deflected either. Lowell just didn't have the angle trying to find Keeney in the left corner.
So here you see now with that type of turnover, at least it's on the baseline. So, they see what kind of trap that they possess, and can they break this, trying to get it into the middle.
Nelson tossing up over the top to right Ponder.
Once again, no steal, but 12 off the shot clock before they really can get into their offense.
Sullivan over to Ingram, lines up the three-pointer, and does not get the roll. And that ball goes out of bounds off the Tritons, but before that, what a great box out by Keeney.
It was, and I was going to say, she's got to be a little careful. I mean, I love the aggressive technique and such a solid rebounder, great fundamentals, but you can't just drive them back, and she's lucky that she didn't get a call there. But still, that's technique box out. Your rear end on the thighs, they can't jump, and you drive.
And there's White-Eye with another deflection. I remember that was always a big Rick Pitino stat. How many deflections does my team get in a game?
And it just shows how active your defense is, so you're right. And that's one of those things where it's not typical. Like 50-50 balls are not in the normal box score. So, but those are things that assistant coaches are charting, especially some of those programs that have 7 assistant coaches with 3 sitting behind the bench.
Well, some of those assistant coaches were doing other things too at Louisville, but it's neither here nor there. Nelson looking inside, and a deflected pass loose on the baseline. Larinaga able to take it away for Eckerd. Thrown ahead in stride. White-Eye cross court. Lull extra pass. Keeney clean look, rolls off. But another great hustle play. White-Eye able to save that.
That's a great just hustle right there.
And Zoe Richards without the ball cuts down the lane. Law finds her. The hustle by White-Eye leads to 2 points.
And if you want a microcosm of what this game has been, that possession right there, just out hustling and then just slip behind the defense and a wide open layup. And, they're just out working right now. And that's something you don't see very often, from a Tampa team coming in here. I mean, Coach Jesse typically does not see his team get outworked.
Zoe Richards has 9 and challenges that shot, leads to the miss by Popovich, and the Tritons leading by a dozen. Keeney this time passes up the three-point look.
And you see the patience that the Tritons are running.
Larinaga knocks down the long 2, and I think that the Tritons, the longer they can make Tampa defend, this Tampa lineup, for all of its size, they are really uncomfortable with the athleticism and speed, although that time the Tritons caught without anyone back, and Malia Sullivan cruises in for the layup.
And a rare, easy beat of the press right there, just up the sideline, and Zoe just out of position, and a good job there by Sullivan to get to the basket.
Larinaga driving at Ingram, tosses back out to White-Eye. Lull inside, and White-Eye got overpowered there. Ball loose. Lull able to keep her dribble while spinning on her knees. And then Zoe Richards gets fouled from behind. I mean, the Tritons have lived on the floor in this game to their benefit.
I mean, they really are just out hustling. And you just, just slow. And, that's partly because they are so, across the front line, Tampa pretty dominant. But right now, just the guards are getting outworked.
Lull tosses inside. Zoe Richards faces up against Popovich, drives into her, and scores with the right hand. She's got 11.
And, you just see that her dexterity, the ability to go with both arms, both hands, both feet. She's just such a skilled offensive player around the basket.
White-Eye nearly had a steal out of the trap, but the Spartans do manage to get up court. Nelson, left wing, long on the 3, and White-Eye with the rebound.
And that's their 12th 3 of the game. They only came in averaging 14 attempts per game. And so there you see, and that's a good foul, I think, by Lowell. Kind of, they obviously their best offense has been transition, so, kind of force them to have to inbound the ball, get your defense set up after that turnover. But, going back to the Spartans, they're not playing the style of offense that they wanted to play, which is trying to get the ball inside, utilize their players inside. They're settling for some outside shots, and that's what the zone was kind of intending to do, and you haven't seen a man since the first quarter.
14-point lead for the Tritons, 36-22. White-Eye gets beat off the catch into the corner for Popovich.
Just good closeouts once again. Good closeouts, getting some good looks, but once again, nothing.
And a foul there as Najee got tripped up.
And tough play there. Larinaga kind of just a little too much momentum.
Third team foul in the quarter on the Tritons. Baseline inbounds. Nelson takes it out. Baseline right. Tosses into the corner. Najee has been quiet. She scored the first point of the game. Has not scored since.
Now under 10 again. Every possession just under 10 seconds before they get a shot.
Contested two by Najee, and then she comes plowing down the lane and commits a foul, rebounding.
That'll be her third, so she came in averaging over 16 points a game, and she's just been taken out of the game. Hasn't had a lot of shot opportunities, and now she's playing with 3 fouls, and Coach Jesse's going to keep her in and see what happens.
Next dead ball will bring us to the media timeout. Tritons by 14. And a moving screen, and that's 3 on Octavia Lowell.
And that's a tough call. I mean, I think they made the right call. She spun, and she locked the defender and gave him no opportunity to try to get around the screen. And you can do that trying to spin and post your own defensive player, but she took up 2 that time and really prevented the defender to get around it.
Eckerd 36, Tampa 22 as we take a break on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. Tampa inbounding at their own end. Baseline right. The Tritons pick up full court. Granlund in, giving Lowell a breather. Octavia Lowell played every minute. White-Eye, another near steal at point-blank range, and then forces the turnover. This is turning into the ultimate, doesn't show up in the stat sheet, dominant defensive game for White-Eye.
And it's just textbook defense on a press. You have the sidelines, you have the midline, you have the baseline. They all can act as an extra defender as long as you cut it off. And that time, Abby White-Eye did, and the only place to go was out of bounds to try to get around her.
Granlund, right wing, on line, but too long. And a foul by White-Eye, and that'll be free throws at the other end for Tampa.
And that's a way to get back in it. If should be 2 fouls to say, yep, they're going to say 2 shots. So penalty with 4:30 left. That could bode well if the Spartans can take advantage of this. You know, the clock stops, it can get some rhythm. Sometimes when you see shooters struggle getting to the line, 15-foot uncontested shot, get back in the rhythm. But they've got to stop turning the ball over. 16 turnovers in 2.5 quarters is just too much, and it's such an offensive killing stat.
First free throw good. Najee has 2 points. Second good as well. What's really been crazy about this Eckerd offense, just really realizing is how much they have accomplished one-on-one. And a lot of that's been Octavia Lowell. Only 5 assists on 15 made baskets so far. Usually the Tritons are much higher up, closer to 50% of their baskets having assists.
Well, this would be an interesting lineup with Lowell on the bench with 3 fouls. Got Keeney, White-Eye, and Zoe. And they little shift in the defense there with a 2-2-1 press. A half-court trap, and who's going to provide some scoring punch. And if the Spartans can get a run, a couple baskets in a row, maybe 2 or 3, they could easily get this under 10, which is what I said they needed to get if they're going to have a chance to get back in the game.
Tritons have led by as many as 14. They're up by a dozen now. Ingram with a 3 on the way. It rolls off, and Zoe able to get down on the floor, get it away to Keeney.
Good hustle again, and that was a good-looking shot. Ingram just couldn't get it to fall. I like to see them try to get the ball somehow inside to Zoe.
And she gets it right here with deep position and scores with the left hand, easy as can be.
And just the footwork's too fast, just too many moves, really for any post player, but especially Naj just doesn't have the foot speed to stay with her. And good job by the Tritons, knowing they needed a basket, kind of get some momentum and go into their sure score inside.
The Tritons have flummoxed Naj, and they've essentially, with these lineups and defenses, they have played Wright Ponder off the floor.
And they have, and it's, they need some speed.
One to shoot. I don't think she got it off. Doesn't matter. It was well short.
Well, and I think that's what you're wondering, too, is at some point does Jessie try to go a little bit smaller and try to go quicker, maybe try to press? Sometimes teams who press don't like being pressed themselves. It becomes a little bit more helter-skelter, a little bit more, just undisciplined.
I think he'd have to change his lineup so drastically to do it, though.
But
many of his players don't have the foot speed for that.
And I don't think that they've practiced that enough, and you just don't start doing new things in a game, So he really, his back's against the wall right here, and the only way he's going to get it is get stops and then try to get some good offense going on the other side.
Tritons making a concerted effort, looking inside, and finally they get it to Richards about 12 feet from the basket, and she just barrels her way. Tampa doesn't have anyone who can guard her right now. Popovich did everything she could, and it's still just too easy.
And it's not terrible defense. You're right, Nate. I mean, she was there, her hands extended, but she created space with quick footwork. And that quick footwork opens up driving lanes and open up angles to be able to shoot over the top.
40-24. Najee steps inside the arc, elects not to shoot, comes back around. Malia Sullivan, long on the 3, Keeney the rebound. And the Tritons have actually edged ahead in the rebounding battle now as well. Tampa can't really stake a claim to anything. And right back to it, inside, easy bucket, Zoe Richards. Every time, she can get that whenever she wants against Popovich.
Sealed, turned, just got so deep, and then the basket becomes a shield.
17 points for Zoe Richards. Strong take by Sullivan to snap a 6-0 run by the Tritons, who have scored on 6 of their last 8 shot attempts. Now Sullivan with a steal, throws it ahead to Nelson. Grandland trailing from behind, commits the foul. That cuts the lead to 14, and a free throw coming for the Spartans.
And that's the type of stuff you can give Sullivan. I mean, that's a nice job defensively after scoring a nice attack to the basket, comes back and steals on the opposite end of the court, gets it ahead. A really nice sequence there by Sullivan, and now Wright Ponder's in, and once again, you see Coach Hunsinger a little frustrated. Don't give this team, who is a good team, a chance to get back in it and think that mentally they have a chance to pull within, a single-digit lead.
Lead is 13, and now we do see Tampa play up with some pressure. Wright Ponder is back on the floor.
I'd like them to go right back at her. She's playing with some fouls. See if they can get and draw something.
Dangerous cross-court pass, and then White Eye winds up stepping on the sideline. So the Tritons with a couple empty possessions in a row via turnovers. 61 seconds remaining. Maya Price and Mara Iburn going to come in, give Zoe and Abby a breather. And I have to think probably right at the start of the fourth quarter, we'll see all 3, Law, White Eye, and Richards back out there. And that pass is too long, and it hits the sideline. And the press, it doesn't matter who has been out there for the Tritons, they have just pressed so effectively.
Well, that's now 18 turnovers on the game, and it's a good sign. When you're seeing that your backup players, your players that they've got 3 reserve players in the game right now who are all handling and still forcing turnovers, and that's not always the case. You see the backup players come in, and you got to kind of change a little bit because they just can't give the same pressure or same defense.
Iburn around a Keeney screen, short on the shot. Tampa can take the last shot here.
Nice job again by Sullivan. Just moving her feet, and that time you can see just a little bit quicker, and that footwork speed, a little bit more advantage on the Spartans on that matchup.
Tritons led by 13 at the half. They lead by 13 right now. Tampa trying to trim the lead here right before the half. 12.5 seconds remaining.
You say the magic number's 12 points. You know, that's something that Coach Hunsinger will preach. If I keep the teams under 50, you know, keep them under 60, you know, you're doing a good job, and that's what he's done tonight defensively. His unit, you know, his team has done that.
And running out of time, Nelson has to gun the three up and hits it at the buzzer to cut the Eckerd lead to 10. Nelson coming up big. She has knocked down 4 3-pointers for the Spartans to keep them in the game. 42-32 as we break, and we'll be back with the fourth quarter on the other side on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.
This is the University of Tampa. Explore your dreams. Discover your talents. Get ready to invent, innovate, and be a leader. This is the University of Tampa.
The Tritons start the fourth quarter with the basketball. Octavia Lowell is back in. White-Eye and Richards stay on the bench for now. 10-point lead for Eckerd as Tampa managed to win that quarter. And Larinaga able to flip it up onto the rim and score to extend the lead back to a dozen.
And she's shown some ability to score around the basket. I mean, great job. I mean, she looked like a 6-foot post player there, and she just really did a good job just using her body and being able to finish.
Nelson and Sullivan have been the keys to this press break that Tampa finally, perhaps too late, seems to have been able to solve somewhat.
Well, those first 4 minutes of this quarter is going to decide, you know, the game. And obviously they've...
The bank is open. 3 for Keeney.
And that can be a killer right there. I mean, you're starting to get some momentum, starting to play well, and then Keeney goes bank at the top of the key. But, I mean, you can see if they can get this first 4 minutes and kind of cut into it, but now all of a sudden they have found a way to break this press, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Coach Hunsinger pull it off, get back, make them work some time off, and then after a timeout or after another situation, surprise them and see if he throws it on again.
Ingram with a lay-in off the Sullivan assist, and then Ingram fouls Larinaga at the other end.
But just, you know, up and down, and, you know, Keeney, give her credit. I mean, she used all of what's there for you, and, you know, that can be, you know, such a backbreaker when you're starting to feel like you finally figured out a way to and solve the riddle.
Lowell has 14, Richards has 17 to lead the Tritons. Nelson's 12, the most for Tampa. All of those on 3-point baskets. Inside, Maya Price has the ball stripped free from behind.
Najee with a nice job, no presence there for Price to recognize where the defense was coming from, and a good defensive play there. And see if they can cut this under 10 for the first time since the first half.
2-3 zone. Down on the baseline. Right Ponder, double teamed. Has to throw it back out. Dangerous cross-court pass. Baseline drive. Fading to Nelson. Another clutch basket. Cuts the lead to single digits for the first time in a long time.
And Nelson did a really nice job, you know, just attacking.
And now Sullivan jumps out for the steal, cruising in for the lay-in. All of a sudden, Eckerd's lead, which was 116, actually 18. It's down to 7, and Coach Hunsinger cannot get White-Eye back in the game fast enough.
Well, you're almost seeing kind of like a reverse script from last year, home game. You know, Tampa dominated pretty much 3.5 quarters, and then all of a sudden in the last quarter, something sparked in the Tritons, and they were down that whole game by double digits. And then Zoe Richards was able to catch fire, and then, of course, she hits a shot at the buzzer to send it to overtime, and they end up stealing one. And now all of a sudden you see the reverse script here. The Tritons have got to calm down, get back, and get some offense going through their post. If you're Coach Jesse, I wouldn't be surprised to just give them a look on the half-court trap. When they changed and added that half-court trap, that started making the game a little bit faster for them offensively because they started rushing the Tritons' offense.
We're getting to the point where we've been at this for a while, Ryan. Years starting to bleed together. That game was 2 years ago.
So that's what I was going to say. In my mind, I'm thinking, was that last year? But it was 2 years ago. But it was just such a great game. But it was almost exactly the same script. It really was. And I think that might be the old age, the new job, or just the children running rampant at home. So, I apologize to the listeners. Boy, I just read
that was a classic. That's probably one of my favorite games.
It was at the end of the season, though.
It was. It was a February game. That's why it wasn't resonating. I knew they played Tampa early at home last year.
That's right.
Just
they
like
did.
This year.
They did. Well, I appreciate kind of just those memories. It's just these two teams battle, and this is a great test of will for Tampa to be down all game and fight back and give Sullivan credit, Nelson. And now the Tritons have got to see, do they have the fortitude to kind of hold on and put this game away, which would be a big win for them.
7:40 to go. Richards is getting manhandled down low by Wright Ponder, and the officials don't let her get away with it. That'll be her third.
And you can see Zoe back in, so starting lineup for the Tritons, starting lineup for the Spartans.
And foul on the inbounds here. That's on Sullivan, her third.
And that's a big advantage now. Now all of a sudden you're 2 away from the bonus, 7:33 to left. That's a great way for the Tritons to kind of really end this run.
Larinaga open for three. Rolls out, but all alone, Octavia Long misses the layup right under the basket. Tampa dodges one.
And just a great rebound, but just couldn't quite finish.
Sullivan in the corner, line drive three, no, and Lowell with a strong rebound.
And you got to like that, missed the bunny, the senior leader, and she comes down, plays defense, and gets a big stop. And you got to finish the play defensively. You get a stop, you get a missed shot, you got to get that rebound and finish the defensive play.
Richards in, Keeney faces up against Najee. Now Richards switches, she goes inside, working against Wright Ponder, faces her up, 4 to shoot, patient, lefty shot rolls off.
And Wright Ponder, I think, got a little lucky there, but, that's part of the game, and give her credit for playing defense without fouling, and just kind of pull the chair there at the end and force that miss.
Tritons in the 2-3 zone. Tampa trying to make this a 2-possession game inside. Bucket for Wright Ponder. It's a 5-point game.
A lack of communication there, and Keeney try to come over all the way from the opposite. That's got to be communicating and talking to Zoe and say, hey, you got someone shifting there underneath on that short corner. Short corner to block. Cut.
Richards on the perimeter. Goes at Wright Ponder off. Dribbled off her own foot and turns it over.
Momentum completely shifting now into Tampa's favor. This is a big possession here. Turn this into a 1-possession game. See what the Tritons can do. We'll see what the Spartans run. See if they can get a little X cut from between Najee and Wright Ponder.
Ingram, zone shifts towards her. High post touch. Najee back out. Ingram has a look. Does not get the three to fall. White eye the rebound.
Good look, though. Inside out, and once again, the ball goes inside again the zone. The zone collapse, and that opens up passing lanes, and Ingram, usually a pretty good shooter, can't quite get it to fall.
Eckerd has not scored in nearly 4 minutes. Nearly another steal by Sullivan. White eye, though, has a step and is able to draw the foul. Sullivan gambled out there for the steal. She's had a couple of those that she's turned into coast-to-coast baskets. That time, the gamble allowed White Eye to get the angle and go to the basket.
And that's exactly right. The angle was what's key there. Once she got her on the hip, it doesn't matter that her hands were up. She got beat, and that allowed Abby to kind of use her body to draw that foul, and that foul was not called by anything up top. That foul was called by getting up underneath.
Now the free throw miss on the front end by White Eye. got the second one, snaps an 8-0 run for Tampa. It's 48-42.
Coach Hunsinger getting a little bit frustrated. Now it changes it to a little bit of a half-court zone. We haven't seen the 1-3-1, but now we see a 2-2-1. And does it come out and end up into a 1-3-1?
Ingram out of the corner. Richards was replaced by Price. Ingram, another look. Too strong. And Tampa, for some reason, kind of forcing up some of these threes when it seemed like they had really found their cuts to the rim.
And I really liked the inside out. That time it was all on the perimeter, and you're right, they're shooting, and they're only 2 possessions away. They can still attack and get some stuff inside.
Octavia Law called for pinning the ball to her hip there as she stepped. And it brings us to the media timeout. The Tritons sputtering, trying to hang on, leading by 6 with 4:52 to go on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network. It took a while for us to get there, but ultimately this is what we expected. Midway through the fourth quarter, both teams in the 40s playing their hearts out defensively. Ryan, it's going to be a fight to the finish as Eckerd tries to hang on against Tampa.
So 1-3-1 zone, and that allows time to come off the clock, slow down the Spartans offense. Nice job penetrating and dishing, and I tell you, that's the way you can beat it if you can attack on the side. And now all of a sudden your 4-point game, the smallest lead since, about what, 5 minutes into the game?
And another turnover. Oh, wow, Eckerd catches a break there. There's no way that pass was catchable, but it'll be free throws for the Tritons as Law was held going up for the catch.
Well, and now they're in the bonus, so Tritons are shooting free throws the rest of the way. Now they got to make free throws. They only 50% tonight. They've only been to the line 8 times, so this is going to be important for the Tritons to kind of finish this game.
I don't think they've had a 2 of 2 trip all night. Feels like it's been 1 of 2 every time to the line. And the front end missed by Law here. And misses both.
And almost you can see she's aiming a little bit instead of just shooting her natural stroke. So missed opportunity, and once again, Spartans are finding some things working here the fourth quarter offensively. They haven't been able to knock, there's a lot of shots outside, but they're getting stuff inside.
It's a 2-point game.
So high post once again becomes the advantage.
Tritons have 2 timeouts left. Likely they will hang on to them for a late game advancement situation. Tampa still has the 1 timeout left. They haven't used one in the second half. What a tremendous play that was. White-Eye drawing the defense. Finds the cutting Larinaga to make it a 2-possession game.
And got caught watching ball, lost sight of ball and man. That's one of the most fun foundational principles in man-to-man defense, and Larinaga slept by and was able to force it, and Larinaga was able to get the left-hand layup.
50-46. 3 on the way. Another one for Nelson.
And Nelson and Sullivan, when Coach Jesse looks at this game tape, he's going to sit there and give credit to Nelson and Sullivan for not quitting and keeping them in the game, and both of them have made some huge plays this half.
Nelson has 17. The fans that have traveled from Tampa starting to make noise. 50-49. Richards still on the bench. Wide-eyed, driving. Got cut off. Out to Keeney. Up fakes. 12 to shoot. On the drive. Out of control. Offensive foul.
And I think that's one of those plays where that's a good job by Naj, just basically moving her feet, getting in front, and you can be moving as long as you're squared, and that time she was. And, you know, Keeney just a little too aggressive. And now Zoe Richards comes up, and the Spartans have a chance to take the lead. Their last lead.
They haven't had one.
Right. So this will be one of those things where you see these teams sometimes exert so much energy to get back into it, get back into it, get back in it. And if they can grab that lead, then they can just take it to home. But once again, we've seen the opposite too, where you spend all this energy and then you can just never get over the top. This will be a big possession here for both teams. Defensively for the Tritons, they're back in a man-to-man defense now.
2:55 to go, 2:45 to go. Inside, right Ponder. Doesn't get the bounce, and Richards has the rebound.
And good job by Wright Ponder. She was able to get so deep, and Price just enough to cause her a little bit discomfort, but just a rare miss there. I thought that was a great set there that Coach Jesse drew up for his Spartans.
Larinaga off the mark on the three. Price unable to tip the rebound.
Such little rotation on that, you know, you just kind of, is it going to get in? She has the ability, but I thought it was a little quick in the set.
Nearly a turnover. Sullivan driving, kick to the corner, extra pass. The defense breaking down. That shot off the mark. Foul on the floor by White-Eye on the box out with exactly 2 minutes to go.
Too much scrambling and just put too many players out of position, and Sullivan able to sneak in underneath, and Abby was doing everything she can, but that's one of those displacement. She's got to get a little lower in her stance so she doesn't have to drive so much.
Pass comes into Sullivan. Tampa looking for its first lead of the game.
Trying to get it inside. Big opportunity here for the Tritons.
Nelson for three. No. Rebound is tipped into the hands of Lowell. Eckerd with the basketball. Lowell not wasting any time. Goes, hangs, cannot score. Rebound tapped around, loose. Tampa has it.
Big rebound by Wright Ponder. Way to stay with it. That was a great move by Lowell, and you're seeing some players step up big here down the stretch. Great rebound in traffic there by Wright Ponder.
What once looked like it may be a laugher has become a nail-biter. Tampa down one. 8 to shoot, 1:15 to go. And the dribble is lost. Larinaga has it. And a foul. Richards called for a foul on that play.
Wow, that's, you know, Coach Jesse right in front of it, and Coach Hunsinger on the opposite end. That's some of the advantage sometimes when you can just be right in the ear of the official.
Three-pointer is good for Tampa, their first lead of the night.
Now how are the Tritons going to respond?
52-50, Tampa in front. An 18-3 run over the last 8 minutes. Inside, great position, up, under, and in for Zoe Richards.
Great job getting the pass inside. I mean, she was able to work the defense to be on the top side, and then almost thought she missed that, but a great job finishing, and now we've got ourselves two big possessions here on both ends of the floor. What do the Spartans do? I think they got to go inside to Ponder or a little bit of another inside out.
52-52, ball stripped out.
And now that the timeout situation for Tampa, who haven't really had to need it, but you can see Coach Jesse not calling anything.
Have to think if the Tritons can get a stop here, they would use one of theirs to advance the basketball into the front court.
10 seconds on the shot clock, 10-second differential. And there's Wright Ponder.
4 to shoot, 3 to shoot. White-Eye gets beaten by Sullivan off the dribble. And Eckerd does not use their timeout. 54-52, Tampa leading. Wall to the basket, ties the game. Timeout Tampa, 54-54.
So Coach Hunsinger said from the hole, like, go to the basket, attack, and you saw two great plays there. Coach Jesse upset at Naj for not stepping up, but what you saw on the other side was a great finish by Sullivan. She used her speed and was able to protect that basket, or that basketball with her body, and two really fantastic plays there. And man, I tell you, Coach Jesse and the Spartans have got to love the resiliency they've shown today. They could have easily packed it in, and they didn't, and now they've had their players play with some spunk here the last quarter, and they've really been able to come back and give themselves a chance to win the game on the last possession.
So Tampa can take the last shot here. Something to be cognizant of if you're Tampa. You can't get sloppy looking for a putback if you miss the initial shot because of the bonus. An over-the-back foul would send the Tritons to the other end to try and win it with a free throw.
And this run really started with about 2 minutes left in the third quarter. And it all started with, right after the Tritons got up from up 18, things just kind of, they thought that they had hit that, and I think you're right. The Tritons they've got a foul to give. Does Coach Hunsinger draw it up here? And you've got to make sure you're not fouling someone in the act of shooting. So with a foul to give, do they make them and try to make them inbound it again?
And White-Eye's trying to give the foul. White-Eye was trying to give the foul. They wouldn't call it. And Wright Ponder scores to give Tampa the lead, and the Tritons will have to settle for a desperation heave.
And because they try to get that foul, they got beat. And you're right. I mean, you're almost watching and saying, like, what's going on? And, so now they're going to get to advance it. But with .8, it's got to be a quick catch. And give credit, they were able to get the ball to who they wanted to score, and a layup there. And the Tampa faithful here in the MacArthur Center traveling across the bay, excited about what their team has provided them in this thrilling comeback. If you're Coach Hunsinger, expect to see some sort of double screen, maybe a kind of a staggered elevator screen, and you're going to have to get a shot, or if they can somehow get Zoe Richards and get something over the top and then a catch putback, have her start kind of away from the basket and set a back screen to get her going to the basket. The Spartans are going to have to really communicate. You may want to see switch screens. Any type of screen, you're going to switch it, and that keeps your defender in front of you, because now you're going to have to catch and turn instead of getting behind or, not being between your man and the basket.
0.8 of a second. Tritons inbounding, White-Eye to trigger it in front of her own bench.
So you see now Wright Ponder up there. Are they going to throw a diagonal screen up to the top? There it is, the matchup.
Offensive foul against Richards. Tampa is going to steal this one from the Tritons.
They got exactly the type of play they wanted. They got a matchup, a change in the matchup, post player on guard, and, Nelson beat her to the spot, and just a little too much air under it. And
Tampa just needs to get it in.
Coach Hunter and call timeout, and I agree. If you're gonna, you just throw it. You got to just throw it the length of the court, and the momentum of going away from the basket and turn around. That's really tough for any player. And if you're Tampa, you just got to say that. Say, listen, we're not getting a 5-second call. We don't have any timeouts left. Just throw it long. If it gets tipped, so what? Make sure though that you hit somebody. You got to hit somebody, because if you don't and it goes too long, the Tritons will have a chance to inbound it underneath. But just throw it. Probably throw it between the volleyball line and the baseline on the volleyball court, and you should be okay. And put air under it so it lands softly, and just try to get a hand on it.
Tampa led by senior Chris Nelson, 17 points, 4 of 7 from 3, 6 of 9 from the floor. Wright Ponder with 13, Sullivan with 10. Wright Ponder's bucket, the decisive one, it appears. And somehow the Tritons only had 4 players on the floor. And Tampa able to get it in, and Time does run out before the foul is called. Well, no, they might be putting time back on here. They are going to put time back on the clock here and have Tampa go shoot free throws. I mean, it was 0.8 of a second. I feel like that certainly should have come off. Coach Jesse arguing just that.
Yeah, and then it's one of those, it's bang, bang, and, you know, unfortunately here you don't have a replay to really, so as a ref, you got to have some sort of clock in your mind, and, you know, it's kind of, you know, unfortunate because this end of the quarter was really clean, and you want to kind of see a clean end to the game and not some sort of freak thing where the officials have to get involved. And, you know, that one last possession, you know, it looked like, we said it, Abby Wide-Eye, and a great job, was trying to foul, but a great job sensing it, attacking the basket and dropping that pass off. And then here, you know, I thought there was a great call out of bounds by Coach Hunsinger, but even better play by Nelson to get there. But you can kind of see the last three, you know, sequences has been some sort of influence where the refs are trying to figure things out a little bit. And, you know, and then now you see Coach Jesse say, it doesn't matter. The game's over. You make it, you miss it, you miss it. 4-4, I mean, it's just really tough to get that type of momentum going.
First shot off the mark. Second is good.
Let's see if Michaela Keeney takes it out. That's what I would expect to see. Oh, they're going to have Abby Wide-Eye do it.
Needs to be some sort of long pass catch heat. Too high. Tampa intercepts it, and the Spartans take a 57-54 decision over the Tritons. And Eckerd lets one slip away on their home floor.
25-12 in the fourth quarter. The Tritons finally, you know, the Spartans finally cracked the code defensively against that press, and once they were able to do that, they were able to speed the game up a little bit. And a good finish there for the Spartans. Coach Jesse's got to be happy about how his teams fought off that 18-point deficit. And some big plays there by Nelson and Sullivan, and, you know, some big threes. I mean, they really did a little bit of everything to finish the game. And Coach Jesse's got to really be proud of the character his team showed. And, you know, with Coach Hunsinger, you can kind of see him. It's like, listen, you know, we've got to bounce back. This is going to be a learning experience from us. That the game's not over. And
if you're going to beat Tampa, you're going to beat them for the full 40.
And that's the type of momentum. And you know, this could be a huge shift in the season. That, you know, Spartans coming off a tough Thanksgiving tournament classic, losing two tough ones on the road, but getting tested against good competition, and now against one of the better teams, and then they come in and steal this. You know, that could be something that could give them a little bit of confidence in a run, especially losing a tough one against Nova only by 2. So a lot of positives in that last 12 minutes of the game that Coach Jesse can draw on. And if you're Coach Hunsinger, you're going to have to challenge your team. We got to finish. You got to finish games, and, you know, you can't make the mistakes that you made.
Chris Nelson led the Spartans with 17 points. Zoe Richards had 19 for the Tritons. Eckerd slips to 3-2, 1-1 in conference. Tampa improves to 3-3, 2-0 in conference. Coming up in less than half an hour, the Tampa and Eckerd men will be on the floor. Ryan and I will be back to bring it to you. Until then, for Ryan Halstead, I'm Nate March. Thanks to our producer, Maddie. Producer Sydney is on her way in for the men's game. We've got the A-team going as we get ready to rock in the Battle of the Bay in just about 30 minutes on the Sunshine State Conference Digital Network.